Zechariah 2, starting in verse 1. When I looked again, I saw a man with a measuring line in his hand. Where are you going? I asked. He replied, I'm going to measure Jerusalem to see how wide and how long it is. Then the angel who was with me went to meet a second angel who was coming toward him. The other angel said, Hurry, and say to that young man, Jerusalem will someday be so full of people and livestock that there won't be room enough for everyone. Many will live outside the city walls. Then I myself will be a protective wall of fire around Jerusalem, says the Lord, and I will be the glory inside the city. Jerusalem is God's city, and so often we think about that as being so exclusive and so just holding people out, and Christians haven't done a great job at all of trying to let the world know that that's not what God was about. God's not about keeping people away. But this passage coming through Zechariah tells us that God wanted to be open to us. That God wanted to open up the city so that so many people would live inside it that the walls couldn't even hold it. I guess the question you almost want to ask here then is just why? Why would we want to be a part of that? Why do we want to do that? And at the end of that, in verse 5, it said, Then I myself will be a protective wall of fire around Jerusalem, says the Lord, and I will be the glory inside the city. Because living inside the city of Jerusalem, it doesn't mean that we're in a place of favor. It doesn't mean that we're better than the people on the outside. It doesn't mean that we're in and someone else is out. But what it means is that we get to see a glimpse. We get to just taste one little bit of what it's like to be in the presence of the Lord. And that's what we're waiting for right now in the Advent season. Picking up again in verse 10, it says, The Lord says, Shout and rejoice, O beautiful Jerusalem, for I'm coming to live among you. Many nations will join themselves to the Lord on that day, and they too will be my people. I will live among you, and you will know that the Lord of heaven's armies sent me to you. The land of Judah will be the Lord's special possession in the Holy Land, and he will once again choose Jerusalem to be his own city. Be silent before the Lord, all humanity, for he is springing into action from his holy dwelling. Be silent because he's springing into action. When I think of springing into action, I don't think of silence. I think of a football game. I think of basketball. I think of pro wrestling, something where something's happening. But instead, we're supposed to be silent because God springing into action means that he came here. He came to us. He came to be one of us. And as we finish out this last week of the Advent season, looking towards the day that we celebrate the birth of Christ, we remember that he's given us the opportunity to break into the New Jerusalem, to live there, to be his people, and to recognize that his glory is shining right there among us. And so as we go through this last week of Advent, we focus not just on his coming, but also on why he came. Because he came to give us the opportunity to be a part of who he is and where he is in the world now and in everything to come.